So what we do know, let's review this just quickly. Learning more than one language during the early childhood years carries significant cognitive and linguistic benefits. I don't have time to go into what all those are, but we know this. We know nobody disagrees with this. No cognitive neuroscientist or linguist or psychologist really disagrees with this. And infants have the innate capacity to learn multiple languages from birth. Again, we have probably in the last 10 to 12 years, very definitive cognitive neuroscientific research that demonstrates neurologically how this happens, why it happens, and why the early years are the best years to acquire 1, 2, 3, or more languages. And again, if we just think of human infants as linguistic geniuses, when we speak to them, whatever language we're using, they are acquiring that language. Even though they may not be talking back to us, their brains are very active. Actually, they use a lot of energy, a lot of glucose in the brain to achieve this task, but they are attending and they are listening to and they are learning that language in multiple ways that neurologically our brain is not as capable as we grow older. And people disagree about what the timeframes are. Some people say 4. After 4, your language learning capacities decrease. Some people say 7. After 7, you're unlikely to speak a new language without an accent because your auditory processing skills are not as open to new sounds as they are when you're younger. And some people say that you can learn a second language at any age. It just is a little bit more challenging and it takes a little bit more work. And that's what my Chinese instructor told me. So, dual language learners need systematic support for their home language while they are acquiring English. So that's the job. That's our job, is to promote English acquisition or dual language abilities, but also attend to and support and recognize the importance, the critical importance of that child's first language, while we are also exposing them to English. I don't have time to talk about age of exposure, but that's also an important topic for us to discuss at some point. Families know the most about dual language learners' early language experiences, and that's why they are our most important partners. We need to really engage with families to find out the languages the child's been exposed to, who's speaking what language to the children, for what purposes, for how much time, et cetera, et cetera. And families are pretty much our main source of information about those early language learning experiences. And teachers and providers don't have to speak the language of the child to support home language development. In fact, that is what POLE is all about. But in order to do this, we must believe in your bones that having a second language in addition to English is a gift and not a disadvantage. And diversity is a resource, not a problem to be solved. I actually like to think of dual language learners when they come into our classrooms, they speak a language, maybe Urdu, maybe a language we haven't been exposed to before. They represent a culture, a background that we don't have much knowledge about. What I like to think is that these children are potentially gifted because they are going to be required to become dual language learners, and that in and of itself provides some cognitive advantages for them. So these children are potentially gifted, they are not deficient, and it's up to us to help them realize that potential.